Bill O'Reilly is actually going to protect Hillary Clinton from what he calls the far left here. And this is both really fascinating and pathetic at the same time. Take a listen.
Hillary Clinton is widely seen to be the Democratic nominee in 2016 for president, but she portrays herself as a moderate. And that's not good enough for some on the far left.
Does Hillary Clinton sound to you like the right person for this moment? In a time when corporations have hijacked our politics, enabling them to reap all the profit without feeling any compunction to do right by their workers, is someone who sat on the rabidly anti-union board of Walmart for 6 years the right person to restore workers' rights? In a time when we're still reeling from a global financial disaster brought on by foolhardy bank deregulation, is someone who recently took $400,000 to give 2 speeches at Goldman Sachs the person we need to wrest control of the asylum back from the banking inmates?
Now, that anti-capitalistic commentary is the far left's signature issue. Talking Points believes there must be oversight on banks and big business. To trust them to do the right thing is foolish and naive. If you don't believe me, read a little Teddy Roosevelt. But many on the left want to dismantle the entire corporate system, and we are seeing the consequences of that in the Obama administration. Now entering his 6th year in office, the president has not been a friend to corporate America. He advocates high taxes to pay for an entitlement culture. Business knows that and has not expanded, preferring to hoard profits or keep them overseas where they cannot be taxed. That's why the job situation and income for working Americans is stagnant. For every good job available, there are plenty of applicants, therefore salaries are suppressed. It's hard to believe, but the far left does believe that the government can provide well-paying jobs on a mass scale. It cannot. And every country that has tried that has failed. 90 miles off the coast of Florida, take a look at what happened to Cuba. That should be an affluent country, but communism has killed the economy.
If you disagree with me, Bill O'Reilly, on anything, you're a communist and you believe in Cuba. Wait, what? I believe that's the very definition of the logical fallacy, false dichotomy. If you're not with this, you're with that. You're a communist, you like Fidel Castro, you like Cuba. Really, Bill? Well, how about Norway? Norway is extremely liberal. They're a social democracy, and they have a lower deficit than us, and they have a lower unemployment rate, and they have a lot more government and a lot more unionization and a higher middle-class income per capita and better education and better health care. What's up with that? How about Denmark? How about Iceland or Sweden or Finland or Greenland? Or any of the Scandinavian region that are more liberal and more successful now, according to the objective data. He wants to sweep that under the rug and say, no, those countries don't help me with my hack political point, so I'm going to focus on this other one, which helps me make my point better, even though nobody even is a communist in America. See, the guy, it's straw man's left and right, it's false dichotomies, it's just, he's playing mental chess with unintelligent people and dominating them because he has a very, strong, confident tone, so his listeners go, oh, that O'Reilly, you go tell him, man. So let's break down a couple other things there. When he was talking about Krystal Ball, by the way, to call Krystal Ball far left, didn't she defend NSA spying? I don't know if she defended that. I think she might have. I know for sure she defended drone strikes. Yeah, super far left, wanting to kill all those innocent civilians in Pakistan and Yemen. Yeah, I hear you, Bill. But, so she made good points there. She said, well, why would we want Hillary Clinton when she was on the board of Walmart for 6 years, as they were engaged in horrendous practices for their workers? They don't fucking pay a living wage, and Hillary Clinton's on the board of that company, and she's going to pretend like she's a progressive? Well, why don't you talk about paying the people a living wage then? Why don't you fight for that? Why don't you get that accomplished? Why don't you get them health care? I mean, Walmart is like this socialistic corporation where they take all of their money from the taxpayers and then they suppress the wages of the people who work there. And Hillary Clinton saw all this going on. She didn't change dick. So that's a good point. And then she said, she spoke for Goldman Sachs twice and raised $400,000. Okay, that's a problem. Bill O'Reilly just glossed right over that. He pretended like she didn't even make that point. Why? Because he doesn't have a response to it. Because here's the way the system works. Since Hillary Clinton took $400,000 from Goldman Sachs, if she gets elected, when she gets in power, she will return the favor to Goldman Sachs and deregulate them and give them subsidies and look the other way as they commit criminal acts and deregulate all these things. She will be their servant in public office. This is how corruption works. This is how bribery works. This is how a sick political system functions. But he just glossed right over that. He's like, oh, 400 grand, conflict of interest, corruption, whatever. Don't pay attention to that at all. Anyway, capitalism, good. Communism, bad. And then I like how he briefly agreed with progressives. He's like, there must be oversight of banks and big business. Well, thanks. That's what we've been saying all along. That's our only point. And you're disagreeing with us as you agree with us. What the fuck are you doing? And then he says, this is my favorite. Well, the left, they want to dismantle the corporate system. Name one liberal who wants to dismantle the corporate system. You can't do it. No, you know what liberals want? I'll tell you. I know because I am one. We want universal health care, universal education, minimum wage increase, increased unionization, an immigration bill to get through, no more war. You know, I'm drawing blanks from here on out, but you guys know what we stand for. We don't want to overthrow the system. The furthest we want to go is getting money out of the system, which, by the way, we had before 1978 when the Supreme Court decisions, started coming down that reversed it and made money equal free speech, and then all the corporations and the rich took over the political system and bought everybody. It's not that radical what we want. In fact, it's very common sense. But Bill O'Reilly doing what he does, making an ass of himself.